Yo, 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 what's up, y'all? Just got through watching the Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia's fight, aka the Mikey Garcia massacre, the Mikey Garcia beatdown, uh, the offering of Mikey Garcia. And I ain't gonna pour out nothing in memory of Mikey Garcia. However, in memory of Mikey Garcia, I would like to say that um, he showed that he has heart. He showed that he has a chin. Yeah, and that's all I got to say about that. But nah, real talk, man. Like, um, what can you say? It was a brilliant performance by Errol Spence. He pitched a shutout tonight. Um, he took it to Mikey Garcia all night. He came out. He established his jab immediately and established the range. Um, he as the fight went on, he opened up his attack more. It started out with jabs. Then he started to mix in the left hand, which was finding a home all night. And then as the fight started to progress, Mikey Garcia went to his corner. I think it was the fifth round, or fourth going into the fifth round. And they said, hey, it's time. Meaning it's time to implement plan B, right? And Mikey Garcia came out in the fifth round with plan B. He came out on the attack. He had Errol, bunched up for a minute, looking at, what they were, the changes they were making there. And then what did Errol Spence do? He went right back to throwing that jab. He went right back to throwing that left hand. And then he also started to mix in body shots at that point. And from there on, it was coasting for the rest of the fight. Again, kudos to Mikey Garcia for hanging in there. It's, to me, it's sad when going 12 rounds is a moral victory, right? You went 12 rounds instead of getting knocked out or instead of the fight being stopped. I don't think it was necessary for him to take the punishment those last couple of rounds. Once Robert Garcia had made the suggestion that he should stop the fight, I think he should have went on ahead and stopped the fight. I can understand him letting Mikey go that additional round and fighting the 10th round. One of them show me something type rounds. But the 11th and 12th weren't necessary. It's what I seen tonight was I seen a pound for pound talent in Mikey Garcia step up to a pound for pound talent, right, in Errol Spence. And I seen Errol Spence dominate Mikey Garcia from start to finish. What I seen him slowly break him down. Go as you watch the fight, it's almost like the fight starts out like Mikey Garcia is the Rottweiler next door that's behind the fence that's acting a fool. You walk by the house, he act like he gonna jump the fence. He act like he ready to murder you, right? And then that Rottweiler gets loose and gets into a tussle with the neighbor's pit bull. And the pit bull shakes him up. Somebody breaks up the fight, save the Rottweiler's life, and the Rottweiler is then never the same. He's been broken down, his spirit's been taken. He don't bark no more when you walk by the fence. He's just complacent. And that's what I seen tonight. The body attack was excellent. The jab was excellent. The left hand, it was all there, man. Errol Spence just punished Mikey Garcia all night. And what I found interesting, or what I found to be a real difference in the fight, was that Errol Spence. So when Mikey Garcia would try to go on the offensive, so he throw a jab and he try to come in behind the jab with another punch, and Errol Spence spun him around. You know, he took away that second shot, he took away the power shot, and then he went right back to the jab and, you know, and the attack. And Mikey could never get off because of that. He could never get off those second and third punches to make something happen. You know, those punches that would have made things a little bit more difficult for Errol. But at the same time, right, so Mikey Garcia really wasn't going to get those punches off, because what do you do when you've got somebody that, you know, you tag them when they're coming in with, you know, you tag them with the jab as they're coming in, they walk right through it. You know, occasionally you tag them with the right hand, they walk right through it, and they just keep coming at you with their relentless attack, relentless all night. I mean, nothing you do works. What can you do? What can you do when you can't deter a man to take a step back? You know, what can you do to deter a man when you can't convince him to think twice about coming in? He didn't have anything for Errol Spence. And it's crazy, man, because I mean, when you really think about it, right? People talk the IQ thing, right? The ring IQ the whole time. But what people fail to realize is, and it shows tonight, you know, Errol Spence put his ring IQ on showcase. Okay? He's not just going to go in there and be a brute and beat you up and knock you out. He boxed tonight. He changed his style up throughout the fight, you know. One of the things I found, you know, pretty sharp was he would throw the looping left hand, and then he would come back with a more crisp, straight type left hand. And, you know, it never came from the same angle 2 or 3 times in a row. He was mixing stuff up, you know, to confuse Mikey Garcia, to keep Mikey Garcia thinking. And he did an excellent job with that. So all in all, great performance. You know, Errol Spence is the truth. Again, now let me go back to the ring IQ thing for a minute, right? Because what people fail to realize is how smart Errol Spence is in the ring, right? If you weren't giving Errol Spence any credit for his ring IQ, but you wanted to give it all to Mikey Garcia, you have to remember that although, you know, maybe there's not tape out there, or, you know, what happens in sparring kind of stays in sparring, it's been said, right, that Errol Spence went in to Floyd Mayweather, one of the pound-for-pound kings. You know, he goes in to his training camp, gives him the work, supposedly gives him a black eye, but you know he gave him the work because he got kicked out of training camp. Okay, Floyd had to kick him out for that sparring session. So if he can go in there and give somebody like Floyd Mayweather the work, one of the smartest people in, you know, one of the smartest boxers ever in the game, for anybody to think that Errol Spence, regardless of whether he shows it every fight or not, doesn't have an excellent ring IQ, you need to go back and think about that and review that. And that is one of the reasons why it was a long night for Mikey Garcia. Yeah, Manny Pacquiao was in the ring. And yeah, Manny Pacquiao ended up saying, hey, you know, why not fight Errol Spence? But after that fight, don't nobody want no smoke with Errol Spence. The only person I think that can really, at this point, compete with him in the welterweight division is going to be Terrence Crawford. Manny really doesn't even want to think about the thought of getting in there. For Manny Pacquiao, it's strictly a payday. But you've seen it. Manny Pacquiao came in the ring, congratulated Errol Spence, and then he ducked off to the side and was taking pictures with people. You know, Errol's like, hey, Manny, come back over here. He ain't even come right away because we'll see if it happens, but he don't want that smoke. He don't want that smoke. Not after seeing what, Manny Pacquiao against Adrian Broner. The opportunity to be hit was there all night. Adrian Broner just didn't really pull the trigger. If he gets in there with somebody like Errol Spence, it's gonna be rough, man. That's one of them retirement fights that could have a B-Hop type ending. You know what I mean? So it remains to be seen if that happens. We'll see. Sean Porter, Ohio fighter who apparently can't sell out a family cookout. He can say he wants to smoke, bro. Man, I love Sean Porter. I don't think Porter want that Errol Spence smoke either. Keith Thurman definitely don't want the Errol Spence smoke. Not right now. So we'll see. We'll see where Errol Spence goes next. But what do you want to call it? Do you want to call it the arrival of Errol Spence? I mean, he's already here and he was already a champion. But 47,000 people in his hometown showed up. He had a fight on pay-per-view. The things are just gonna get better. Fights are gonna get bigger. So for Errol Spence to come out and have this dominant performance in his hometown, he didn't necessarily need the knockout. I mean, literally, he punished this man for 12 rounds. I mean, the whole 12 rounds. I mean, what can you say? So with that said, the fight was excellent. Excellent showing by Errol Spence. As far as the undercard fights, I knew David Benavidez was gonna put it on Jalen Love. The other fights, they all ended early for the most. They all were early fights, early stoppages. If pay-per-view is going to continue to be billed at $75 rates and up, they need to put together better fight cards. Now, if you're an action fighter and you like, or you're just an action fan that likes to see knockouts, it was a great night for that, despite the main fight not ending in a knockout. It was a great night for that. But if you want to see good competitive fights, the best fighting the best, if you want to get value for your dollar, you can throw a couple of those fights on there. Maybe one, maybe two, where there's knockouts and such. But if you're going to show I think they showed. I know they showed 5 fights. Was it 5 or 6 fights? You need at least 2 of those to be good competitive fights. And there was only one There was only one fight that went rounds tonight. It was not a competitive fight, but it went rounds. So, I'll tell you, these type of fights, Mikey Garcia will never be the same after this fight. He's going to go home. He's going to watch the fight, and he's going to realize that despite surviving 12 rounds, the beatdown was worse than he may realize. Errol Spence had his way. That's going to be hard. Even though Mikey's a champion, for a first loss, yes, he didn't get knocked out, so he doesn't have that to overcome. But as far as he didn't have one moment in the fight, he didn't have one truly good round. I mean, if you were going to give him a round, I guess you would have gave him the second round. It was the closest round as far as punch stats, but the judges, nor I, decided to give Mikey that round. There are no moral victories in this fight. And the fact that, your trainer was considering throwing in, and has openly admitted, that he was considering throwing in the towel. I don't know what Mikey Garcia does. Does he go back? I mean, obviously he's going to go back down and weight, okay? He needs to leave 147 alone. Go back down and weight. You're a champion, so, I mean, I guess you can fight maybe a number 3 or number 4 contender, somebody that's not a mandatory, somebody that's not the number 1 contender or another champion in your division. To bring yourself back around and then kind of rebuild and go from there. So we'll see. I just want to say that this this video is a memory of Mikey Garcia. May the old Mikey Garcia that we all knew and loved prior to this fight rest in peace. Pour out a little drink for your homie. And then please remember that Errol Spence is the truth. Okay? He is the truth. And he proved it tonight. So please, like, comment, share my videos, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at whateverman, WHATEVA_man. Feel free to send me a message over there on IG and I'll definitely get back with you. So that's my thoughts on the fight. Hope you enjoy the video and I'll holla.